I do want to get it sorted, but I'm continually, it feels like I'm continually in transition. I'm quite surprised, even in that brief moment then, that I found myself feeling quite emotional and thinking, I'm coming out, which is, it never occurred to me in that way before. Does that make sense? Like kind of owning who I am and how I am without apology, and without apology. That's it. That's going to take a bit of processing. So coming into BIP, Penny, in her inimitable way, says, "So, are you a philosopher?" I have now just experienced the kind of the pattern that I normally go through when that comes up. A part of the pattern is, well, I go back to the roots of the word. Philos, Sophia, friend of wisdom, Greek and all that, languages, that's me. But it feels quite pretentious, quite, what does she mean in my philosophy? That's me as well. What does she mean? What's she really asking? So I remember a friend of mine who started with me same day at Reuters, and one day we went. He said, "Oh, you've got to come round. I've got some friends coming down from Cambridge, and they were all from the philosophy department." And so I felt quite daunted, and chat, and my abiding impression was that they were dickheads. That they were. It was talk, and none of it seemed to be of. There didn't seem to be any wisdom in it. But it wasn't even about things that I would consider philosophy. Plus, clearly, they were drinking too much. They weren't living well, from what I could see by my lights. They weren't living well, and if it's not about how to live, then what is it? Well, it is what I've been interested in all my life, and actually, a thought that's just occurred to me. It would be a pretty sad state of affairs if, having been interested in it all my life, I hadn't actually got some. That would really be a sad state. It's really just occurred to me. If I have been trying to learn and practice wisdom for however many, for at least 50 odd years, then that would be failure, wouldn't it? That would be a sad state of affairs. So, well, there you are. You see, I just talked myself into it. I remembered I've been reading a book about Montaigne, who was a French aristo, minor aristo of the 16th century, I think, who, at the age of, late 30s or something like that, he decided he was going to retire from public life. He just wrote what essentially were of the day blogs, thinking about whatever. And so he would just be like mind wandering, and then with reference to, classical whatevers, and then something his granddad taught him and what the local peasants said. And it was just like the mind exploring the world. And I thought, well, actually, that's kind of how I am. what use is that to anybody, really? Although, I must say, his Montaigne's essays are, people are still reading them and talking about them. So I find myself now kind of in like a void mode, in the sense of, and maybe it's a void mode, like sometimes when I need to write something, for whatever, for a client, or I want to write something on a blog. And I'm waiting for words to come. But these are the words that came, that I'm in a void mode. And not avoid, but a void mode. It's not as that things are coming up and I'm just kind of ordering the flow of stuff, that word, and remember that word, make a note, all that kind of stuff, as I'm doing now, in fact. But that so something's happened, as what I was saying about coming out, as owning who I am and how I am, which is a big thing. It's a really big thing, actually. Yeah, and as I said, contemplating it, even just in that brief moment, I feel quite emotional about it. And so it's happening again, the void thing. It's like, well, it's a big thing, something quite, emotional, and so there's a lot to work with there. There's a lot of processing to be done and all that. I did a fantastic course, 2016. It was called the Embodied Facilitators course. Very full on, and it's very body mind. And there were lots of very vivacious, flamboyant characters, lots of people who kind of really stood out. And I was also one of the oldest, I think, probably. I would have been, 63 at the time. And at the end of the whole thing, there's a ritual and some ceremonies which are fantastic. We have a special chair, and it's the kind of receiving appreciation chair. As is often the case, I was one of the last ones up and sort of sat in the chair, and I was a little bit flummoxed by the sort of thing they were saying. Like, there was a kind of a fairly wild Norwegian guy, and he said, so they kind of stood in front of me and gave their appreciation. He said, Stuart, you are the sort of man I wish had been my father, and I wonder how I would have been if you'd been my father. And and then the various other things that came up, and it was like Gandalf, this kind of thing. Thinking, Jesus Christ, am I that old? And I mentioned it later to one of the guys running the course, Francis, and he said, the tribe is telling you, it was something like this, the tribe is telling you that they regard you as a wise elder. And that's an important role. But that word keeps on coming up, wise, wisdom and all that. And, to actually claim it for myself would be pretentious or arrogant or something like that. But I get it quite a lot from other people. And what I've come round, one of the things I've come round to is, okay, whatever it is I do, or whatever it is I'm interested in and want to honour, it involves body, mind, and beyond. When I say beyond, slotting what you like there, really. For some people it's soul or spirit or whatever, but it's an experience of something that's more than just my body, my mind. It's a sort of sense of something that transcends the physical and the mental self. And I don't know what that is. In the sense I don't know what it is to define, except that I know that it's an important experience for me, and I think for a lot of people. And so that's the beyond bit. And I suppose I have kind of given myself permission, or I have, how can I put it? I've accepted, but accepted with grace, if you like, with gratitude that this is who I am. Well, it sounds like it's a done deed, and I'm sure it isn't already really, and maybe never will be. But it feels like there's more of that. I guess I have a sense that I haven't done my thing yet. I suppose that's it. I haven't done my thing. Wisdom is right thinking in action. I'll take that. That's what I aspire to.